Hi, this is my regular class. It's a Wednesday, September 21st. And then we're going to get into more talking about creepy voices. Let's see, from there I can do a thingy thing. For you guys, so you can see yonder, I have new pencil sharpener, which was just installed this morning. Old pencil sharpener is still there, which you're still more than welcome to use if you want to. Or you have pencil sharpener over there. I'm happy with either one. I'm going to turn this camera so we can see slightly. There we go. I have also over here a new calendary thingy that you guys can see where I've now created and built it. It's slightly different than the old one in that I've separated regular and advanced because I can create my own. So don't get too confused. Make sure you're looking at the correct one. You guys are the ones that say regular over there. The other change will be how homework is. Excuse me. Anytime homework is due on a day, you'll see the little thing at the top of it. Homework assigned on a day, it'll be at the bottom of it. So top, beginning of class is when it's due, bottom, end of class is when I assign it. So you can look for today, the fact that we're assigning a thing, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Tomorrow, I'm assigning a thing. We're going to get it done during class. Friday, e-learning day, there's a thing due. So it gives you an idea of how it works over there. All right, home children, welcome back. There we go. The thing for you guys that is the homework, lean over and steal this from this kid, is this little piece of paper, which you can get from Canvas if you're not here in real lifey bits. It's the two-sided little sheet. This is the story for Friday about a girl named Priscilla who gets in a fight and beats a person up. And so it's all about this girl who beats the holy pooey out of a dude. And so that'll be the story coming up for Friday. And that's, as of now, the only real homework that we have. Did that. The homework, we did that. You guys are good to go there. I think that covers it. Let's do talkie bits. And I got bragging, snagging. I forgot to
Simple twice. Yeah, you did say that twice.
Nasty hand.
So, the Spirit Week for next week. This is already posted to Canvas, so you can find it there. I will also send it out on Remind next week for those of you who actually use Remind. The way it's going to work is if you dress up all 5 days, I will give you candy on Friday. But you have to hit all 5 days and not miss any single day. And I'll go out and get blow pops, although I was told that apparently kids with braces, blow pops are not friendly, so I'll have a braces-friendly alternative for you that you can choose between. But you have to hit all 5 days for it to work. I'm also going to take Monday to explain how house points work. House points are a competition between us, the Globetrotters, and the Stars, the different teams here, to see which team is the best. You earn points by doing good kid things, and then lose points by doing, much like B points, but it's for like a competition. If you joined a team here at school, as in like a sports team, if you do football or cross country or cheering, anything like that, you earned house points for us. If you do the play, you earn house points. If you join a club, you get house points. And so we get points for all these things that you get a chance to go out and do. Then we we also get points for every kid that dresses up for this. We get points each day for those. So that's why it becomes this big competition thing between all the different teams. I'll explain more about that next week as we get into the first day of it. For this, when you dress up, do not do wussy Globetrotter stuff or I'm going to have to make fun of you. As an example, Monday is hat day. You get to legit wear a hat for the whole thing. You get to dress up. If you just wear a hoodie and pull your hoodie up, that's not a hat. If you go, I'm wearing a hat, no, right in the throat. And I'll call you a Globetrotter while you're on the ground going, hat, 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 hat. So you have to actually have committed to wearing a hat. Thursday, Suicide Prevention Day, that's going to be the whole wearing yellow on that day. And you have to legit wear yellow. Not go, look, if you look in the corner up here, the picture is yellow. Flat, right in the throat again. You have to make sure you're wearing legit all yellow. Twin Day does not mean you were born a twin. It means you dress identical to another person. You dress as a thing, they dress as a thing, you guys dress as identical things. I have to see you and other person. If I don't see you and other person, it does not count. You can show them in person. You can just walk in and go, look, it's me. It's another me. And I'm like, yay. Or you can just take a picture of them and go, look, it's me. It's me. And you can have that thing. That also works. But I have to see them. You cannot just go, I'm dressed just like a kid in first period. Because I don't memorize what you wear because that would be creepy and disturbing. So I'm going to have to actually see you in order to know it. If you dress the same as a globetrotter or star, that's fine, but you're going to do the picture or come in and show me. You do not have to be completely identical, just close enough I can tell you are trying. As in, you can show up and just have like khakis and a red shirt. If you're both wearing khakis and a red shirt, that's fine. One of you can be wearing like the Jake from State Farm shirt, and the other one can be wearing like a, I don't know, Kansas City Chiefs shirt, but they're both red and khaki, that's fine. I'll roll with that. You can't show up and go, look, I'm wearing clothes and he's wearing clothes. We're both wearing whack right in the throat again. So I'm looking for it looks like you actually put time into it to figure out what you're trying to do. Ryan, so what's up with the iPad you want me to take from you? Oh, what's up?
So like, what if we just wear our gym clothes?
If you want to commit to it, more power to you. Kira.
Can I get extra points for end day since I'm going all out for it in a whole different, I'm becoming a whole different person? Basically?
No, it just impresses me. I think more of you.
Alrighty, nice.
Fasa.
Is there able to actually dress like with twins?
Yeah, sure. I mean, make sure you dress identical. You can't just say like, look, we have the same face. It doesn't work that way. Unless they print out like a copy of your face, and that'd be more impressive. Dev.
That's
What if someone, like, what if you're twinning and you have like a shirt that's red and they wear a red shirt, but like everything else is like different? Would that be?
Yeah, that would not count. That just means you happen to find the kid wearing the same color shirt as you. Miles.
For the twin day, can I wear something, take a selfie of myself, and then show you the day on my iPad of me on the picture, and then me in person?
Are you trying to twin with yourself?
That's kind of
adorable.
sad.
But no, way to try and abuse the system.
Well, what if we clone ourselves?
Well, absolutely you should. That's why we have science.
we call ourselves.
And apparently, a computer, I just fixed you.
I guess that means you can't do the lesson.
I guess we'll just go straight to the test.
What? I wasn't. What?
Do you have a test?
I put in a claw machine.
Shut up before I show Mr. Brovicast your TikTok.
That was just asking.
Don't. I will hurt you.
I have a better hair.
You hear that, Mr. Broviak?
He
Oh,
looked
can I
right
do
to
it
my
again?
safety.
No, I didn't.
Home children,
Hi,
as
can you
normal,
on the video?
we're going to pause it for a second, so we're not recording this bit of it, and we'll come back to you in just a second. Just hang on.
Forgot he was recording.
And I have not. All right, then there.
We only
If you remember, Krishna, then you'll get to be able to pick the number next time, but just if you remember. If not, we'll have a random
I want to
person.
see the story.
All right, now we get to learny stuff. That's had to happen eventually. Foreshadowing we talked about already. What is the definition of foreshadowing? So the things in the story. Oh, wrong direction. There we go. So as an example, here's a physical form of foreshadowing. Look over there and go, oh, did someone not have out the story from yesterday in the green sheet? See, that was your example of foreshadowing. So there, Ryan, you are now down to 7.
Already?
I figured the same thing. Why would you not do things? I don't know. You know how life is. But as long as you have it, you're good to go now. All right, so then to there, story-wise, let's see, we have
Someone needs a story page.
Selma.
You have to lose a point.
I know, but at least you told me at the beginning of class I wouldn't have to charge you extra points.
I tried to tell you.
Serena even tried to tell you. And Serena was like busy being distracted with a book.
My rock book.
No, it was a good rock book.
It was very good rock.
It was. Aw, Selma, you broke your streak. You'd gone 5 weeks without losing points.
I know.
That's sadness. If you'd spoken at the beginning of class and apologized, I would have given it to you for free because you'd done that far being a good kid. But now maybe you need to. Anyway, speaking of kids, who is our character in the story?
Sam.
What do we know about Sam so far?
He's scared of the voices.
There you go. He's scared of voices. Setting. When is it taking place?
At house. In his bedroom. At his school.
So,
Quiet.
So, last week we took a quiz. The quiz last week, you remember which question was the one you guys screwed up the most on? The one that talked about setting. And in the setting it said, when did it take place, and what did you guys do? So a second ago, did you hear anything about the question I asked? Because I said, when did it take place? And what did you guys yell?
Oh,
So we're going to go back to that. We seem to be struggling again on the whole being able to listen to this.
school day. 5 o'clock in the morning.
There we go. Now we're figuring out how to listen to things. Hi, Selma. What's up?
Were we supposed to write this down?
No. All right. But you watched the video. You would know that, Selma. You're making me... Selma, I have to keep harassing you. Where is it taking place?
In his bed.
There.
Science room.
There you go. I'll take both of those so far. It works for me. And then we got, it is taking place in the science room. He's right. Because then it jumps from the very beginning and the next, wait, what are the voices saying to at the very beginning?
Dead.
And that's where the whole death and the dying stuff like that comes in. And then it jumps to the next major scene, which is going to be no longer at his house. Now it takes place at,
Science.
and that's where the science room comes in, and we're having the issues with the sciencey room. Oh, and now it's no longer just voices. We had a new thing, which is what's the new issue?
Eyes.
What happens with his eyes?
They blur out light.
And then they blur out all white, much like if you were to rub them really hard, and you see all the little whitey spots and stuff like that. And then, does he still hear voices?
Yes.
Still hearing the voices at this time, and then it's science. Then I think that's where we got to. Let's see. Who's Trevor in the story? He's going to show up again in this next part. He has like multiple roles with the whole thing talking to Trevor. And then you said it's not at his house. You said it's taking place in science, right? And that brings in the science. We did the school day. You guys covered that one, so we should be good. Yeah. And then, let's see, the voices are still talking to him. Although now I don't think they were saying dead, were they?
They still said dead.
No.
They didn't.
Oh, they did. They said they're all dead, and then it jumps to over there, and then almost there, and stuff like that. Did we have guesses as to who the voices are yet?
I think it's his.
I
think he's Lucifer. I have a
Parents,
guess.
stuff like that.
Assassins after him.
I honestly
think he's
think
dead.
it's a scientist.
Leo.
Fortnite 90 Cracker.
Never mind.
An assassin.
Leo.
Like I said yesterday, you could be a part of a system like an OSD or DID.
Well, it worked for me. So he's hearing the voices. There's some the mental things going to there. Kira.
Like I said yesterday, the Matrix, like someone's trying to make him go insane so they could see how a human would react to this situation.
Scares me that you put humans into quotation marks, but okay. Sunday.
The deceased among us is telling you where from your costume.
Ghosts. I could roll with that. And Leela.
So, I think he fell asleep in science class on accident, and then they played like a scientist video of a guy talking about something, and then he woke up and he's like, wait, my eyes are all white, because he woke up from like sleeping, and then, yeah.
Jameson.
Maybe if like a ghost of his past, like he accidentally killed his grandparents in a crash and they're trying to hunt him.
Let's find out. Jumping into it, we're going to go front side, bottom, all the way over to the right. Jumping to a whole new scene. Little dotsy things tells you we jump to a new scene. We're going to find out that the eyeball thing was just the first of many issues. And that there are going to be other physical things. It's not just voices, it's also physical issues also. Man, Trevor said at lunch, you really had us freaked out today in Marxist class. I thought you were going to go all psycho on us or something. Your eyes were all flipped out, and the way you kept talking about dead people and stuff, that was spooky. Are you sure you're okay? Sam looked up from his sloppy Joe and gave his friend a smile. I don't know if you'd say I'm okay, but I don't know, I'm feeling better at least. This morning has really sucked, Trav. I don't even think I could put into words how messed up it's been. He took another bite of his sandwich, chewed slowly, looking at his plate. Are you gonna try? The question coming from his friend. Try what? Oh, sheesh, explain it to me, Trevor said in an exasperated tone. I haven't spoken with you since Mrs. Larks took you to the nurse. All right, you say weird stuff has been happening. All right, well, what kind of weird stuff? Well, okay. Voices, for one thing. I've been hearing voices. Apparently from people that aren't there. I can hear them just fine, but I don't know, I seem to be the only one. Wow. Voices. Really? That's That's kind of cool. That's like full-blown crazy person stuff. I've never known a real crazy person before. Sam looked up at his friend in time to see a smile. It's not funny, Trevor. It's really scaring me. And there are like bright lights going off in my eyes. It's like I'm looking at a light bulb with only one eye. It doesn't hurt, but it's weird and it's creepy and I don't like it. And I just want it to stop. And you're bleeding. Nah, Travis, it's going in my head so far. I haven't actually been hurt or anything. No, man, you're bleeding, Trevor said excitedly. Check out your arm. What? Sam asked, and looked down at his right arm. Trevor was right. There was blood coming out of the crook of his elbow. It seemed to be quite a bit of blood, too. What the? Well, the crook is the bendy bit right there, so that's the crooky bit. What the? Sam exclaimed while swiping at his arm. The arm tingled now, and it felt funny, but it didn't really hurt. He grabbed some napkins off his tray and wiped at the blood. He saw it was coming out of a small hole on the inner bend of his elbow. It was right on the vein. It was like the vein had just opened up and started shooting blood out on its own.
Stop.
What's wrong with it? Trevor blurted and then asked more quietly. Is there anything I can do to help? Yeah! Give me your napkins and go get a large Band-Aid. What's wrong? A soft voice asked. Sam spun in his chair to see nobody near him. Who said that? Stop fighting it! A much stronger voice resounded on his other side. He quickly looked to the side of the new voice and saw the same sight. Nothing. Losing him. The soft voice again. It sounded, he wasn't anxious, worried. He wasn't sure, but it didn't sound good. Falling. A new voice this time, but what was falling? Sam thought he missed the beginning of whatever it was the voice had said. It bothered him. Something important was falling, and it seemed to involve him. Hi, Kira.
Oh my god, so he's actually in the hospital and he's listening to all of this, and like the vein thing was them putting in that little IV thing, and so they're like trying to they said they're losing him because he's like having something that's causing him to die.
He's in coma.
Well, let's back up.
Oh my gosh, Kira, you're so smart.
I know I am!
Where's this new scene taking place?
The lunchroom and apparently the hospital.
In the lunchroom, and so we still have, who's our new character that's with them? Who's the new character still? Trevor. And then apparently, what's our new issue that's really excited Kira?
He's eating. Well, I think
Oh, they said he's eating. I was like, bleeding. That makes me, yes. So he's bleeding. Where's the blood coming from?
his arm and between his elbow and the crevice
There
where
you
you're
go,
supposed to
then
get
part-
stabbed out when you put in the IV thing.
Miles?
Wait, there's no.
At the start, he was scared of the car crash. He was probably in a car crash, and then he was got knocked out or something. He's in a coma, and then now he's in the hospital.
So we're all jumping on this same idea?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm shaking.
Literally, I want to
Awesome.
say at the end of the story,
I think that he said he's in a coma. I think he said coming back from a coma and
Okay.
then he can hear like faint words like blowing.
Oh, in the white. Yeah, in the white. That saves his eyes with the flashlights. Them checking his eyes.
You guys all seem to be jumping on these foreshadowing. By
Guys,
the way,
there's no ending to the story. I
Just
just
so-
realized that.
well, one,
Brovicast said yesterday.
there's a second page that I've not given you because I don't trust any of you not to try and read ahead. So that's why I have second page.
Don't worry, I will.
Yeah.
I'll just hold it.
So
story or not?
we're gonna jump to the next scene. You'll just have to wait a second. In next scene, those of you who seem to have your suspicions, this is the part where things start to really come together for people.
Kira, you're so smart.
What about his eyes?
Well, can we finish the story and talk about it later?
That's what Eli is yelling at me.
I feel like I'm so smart.
He didn't know any of this. Sam looked at the math test again and sighed. All that. I am glad to see you guys so happy and eager to learn and yell at me, but now.
No, because he's dying.
Hang on, we'll turn down the lights. Hang on.
Yay!
No.
I'm pretty sure
I
we should get some LED lights and put like
Just turn down.
Yeah.
It's gonna be spooky, icky, wicky.
I have in my room the LED lights.
and then put red on it.
He didn't know any of this. Sam looked at the math test again and sighed. All that studying he had done, and it was no help. None of these questions made any sense to him. It was almost like it was written in a language he couldn't understand. He looked at the first question and rubbed at the bandage on his arm. Stupid thing still hurt. Wouldn't stop bleeding. It had been bleeding for almost 2 hours now. Stupid slow trickle that didn't seem to stop. Sam snuck a quick peek around the room to see if anyone else was having trouble with the test. No one else was looking up. They all seemed to be just writing furiously. All right then, Sam said quietly to himself. My study. This should be easy. Let's try the first problem again. Say square root. Not gonna make it, said a loud voice just above his left ear. Not again, Sam moaned out loud. Make the voices stop. Tell me who you're talking about. You're driving me crazy. Sam finished his rant in a voice loud enough to nearly qualify as a shout. Well, Mr. Tynes, talking during a test will drive me crazy, his algebra teacher, Mr. Fitz, told him. I've heard you've had a rough day, Samuel, but please keep quiet during the... Shock him! The voice was louder now and almost seemed angry.
Because it's the things to make him
I'm shocked! I'm shocked! Sam shouted back at the voice. This whole freaking day has been shocking. I don't want any more surprises. If you want to really shock me, then try leaving me alone. That would shock me. Mr. Tynes, I'm shocked also. I am shocked a good student such as yourself would behave like this. That is quite enough. I have not had an outburst like that in class, especially during... Clear! The voice drowned out Mr. Finn's last few words. The voice was insistent this time, almost yelling, but not sounding like it was directed at him. Sam stood, looked around the room. Is what clear? Nothing is clear. I don't understand any of this. The pain that suddenly shot through his chest knocked him off his feet and dropped him onto his butt. His heart and lungs and chest had just simply exploded. His eyes swam with the pain. His buzzing fingertips reminded him of the time he electrocuted himself screwing in the light bulb in the attic. He slowly looked down at his chest to see how big the gunshot wound was. It had to have been a bullet, and nothing else could hurt this much. Nothing. No blood, no hole, no bullet. Just intense pain. It hurt so much he could do little more than sit there with his mouth open and gawk at his own uninjured chest. No response, the voice yelled at him. What the bejesus? Sam thought. What do you mean no response? What kind of response did you want? It knocked him off his feet. It made his chest explode. He felt like he was dying. Clear, the voice bellowed at him. No, it's not, squeaked Sam in a whisper. I don't know what you want. How can it be clear? Who are you? Why are you doing this? Another explosion of pain blasted his chest. He could actually feel his body jerk and jump as something like electricity shot through his entire body. His vision blurred. He could see the classroom and the stunned expressions of his classmates and teacher as they melted into the whiteness that was surrounding his vision. His hearing seemed to fade as the classroom sounds dissolved. I'm dying. So, this is what it's like. Why? Why'd they have to kill me? What did I do to them? Stable, he heard the soft voice tell him as his consciousness blinked out.
I know what happens.
I'm not calling on any of you. We're going to the last part of the story. So now I get to read. I told you, many of you would be able to figure it out with that section. That's where things start to make
They're
sense.
doctors and they're putting the electric thingies.
This is the last part.
They're finna stick
You guys are so excited to learn.
I did it.
Sam awoke and saw a white room he didn't recognize. He could smell disinfectant, and he heard the voices of people far away, maybe in the hallway. He tried to sit up, but was stopped by the pain that shot through his body. Oh, man, he hurt. That last shock hadn't killed him, but it probably sure ached like it had tried. Thought we lost you, a voice said from off to his left. The soft voice he'd heard before. So the voices weren't done with him yet. Not again, Sam told the voice. Why can't you all just leave me alone? Because you probably would have died if we'd done that, the voice replied. Wait, the voice just answered him. The voices never answered. They just spoke. He slowly turned his head to that side. So, How are you feeling, kiddo? The nurse standing next to his bed asked, using the voice he had come to recognize and dread. Who are you? Where am I? What's going on? How did you manage to... He trailed off, looking at this lady who was staring at him and adjusting a clear plastic bag hanging on a pole next to his bed. His eyes followed the thin tube connected to the bottom of the bag, followed it down until it connected with his arm, connected with a needle inserted into the bend of his right elbow, exactly where he'd been bleeding before. You were incredibly lucky to survive that car wreck. If you hadn't been wearing your seatbelt, well, you'd have been thrown through that windshield, just like your... She stopped short, looked at him again. It was a concerned, motherly look. Well, you're lucky to be alive anyway. Car wreck? What? Car wreck? You mean the one in my dream? The nurse wrinkled her nose and gave him an odd look. Well, that was no dream, sweetie. That was more like a nightmare. And from my understanding, you almost died last night in the emergency room, too. Your heart just stopped. The doctors had to shock you to get your heart started. Shock me? Sam asked. An eerie thought was beginning to creep up Sam's spine, nudge its way into his brain. Yes, Sam. They had to use the defibrillators to get your heart beating again. If they hadn't, you'd be dead right now. And that's where the story ends.
Nobody died. Wait.
By the way, if you are wanting the end of the story, it's on Canvas.
Oh, she was gonna do that to us.
So you can get it there if you actually want to get to the end.
That's mean.
Right. Cooper.
So this story kind of reminds me of the time where I have this recurring dream where I wake up and I hear an alarm clock. So I get up and I start punching the alarm clock when it doesn't stop. I throw it, I unplug it, and then I wake up.
Yep. That's sort of the idea of the story. Would
Is it
come
just
from.
me that like gets strange and like?
Kira.
So this reminds me about I don't remember which it's in the fourth one I believe of the Fazbear Fright series. But there's this kid who interacts with Foxy because he's an idiot, but these strange things keep happening to him. Like because he was with Foxy and then he said it'll cost you an eye and an arm, leg, or something like that, because that's what pirates say. And so, he gets in these situations where he could have lost his arm, leg, and eye, and then he has this brother too that was with him during this. So the guy dies because that's how the books work. And then so the other kid was like, "Oh my God, he wasn't lying." That's kind of what this reminded me of because the kid that was with Foxy was having like the hallucinations of voices and stuff.
Does that mean his friend was imaginary?
I think it was a real friend, but in the story, it's the imaginary version of his friend. Yes. So at the end of the story, where do we find out he wakes up?
Hospital.
In a hospital. What happened to his family?
They died.
They did die. Why did he not die?
Because
Because he was wearing a
Because
seatbelt.
apparently he was wearing a seatbelt, which is why they died, and apparently he did not
That's why I
die.
said die and it stopped.
And that's why she stopped talking partway through and
That's
same
the
thing.
thing.
So then we get to our foreshadowing clues that apparently you guys figured out and got really excited about in the story. At the very beginning, when it says he has a dream about his family dying, what is that actually talking about happening?
His family.
died.
So that's the idea. His brain was whatever was hanging in the thing, because apparently he's been, the whole story, he's in a coma throughout the entire story. From the car wreck at the very beginning of the story, goes into a coma, and then that's where he's, much like Cooper brought up, brain is bringing in the alarm clock stuff into this story. So when the beginning of the story, when the voices are all saying they're all dead, who are the voices talking about?
Parents.
Who are the voices at that point?
The doctor.
Doctors.
Not doctors.
No, the people at the scene.
The paramedics at the scene. Because it first starts off with him at the actual car wreck. Because I think it starts also says, it's like we're almost there. No. Over there. Is that what it says? We're coming. So that would be the paramedics running up to the car, yelling, "We're coming, we're coming." And they show up and see the family like, "Oh my God, they're all dead." And so that's all he hears is the dead part coming in. Then it jumps to him seeing the white lights, where it goes from one eye is all white to the other eye being all white, and he feels a pressure on it. So what is that white light?
That's the light that they're making sure he's not dead.
That's the paramedics doing the little eye checky thing, and then going to the other eye checky thing. A lot of you guys figured that out. Nicely done. Then it gets to, this is the one that
That's
I,
their click.
where the blood on arm is going to be.
The IV.
The IV.
That was the
so
one
proud
that,
of
for a
myself.
lot of you, this is where you started to figure things out.
I was close
The
with the
whole
Matrix.
blood on the arm thing.
I knew the whole time.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
because you
sure
said
you did.
something.
When the voices are telling him to stop fighting it at the lunchroom. Why are they telling him to not fight it?
Medicine, because he wasn't,
like taking
his
it
body wouldn't let it
There
go
you
into
go.
his system.
Yeah, so he's in the process. I'm sure as he's sitting there, he's like, ah, and like flashing around and smacking at it and stuff like that, and getting all upset. So the same idea, to stop fighting it. Then you get to his chest exploding would be,
The little
clear.
that's the defibrillators we find out at the very end where they were trying to keep him alive.
shock pad.
And there's like other, so throughout the whole thing when he's like Trevor, as you said, was not actually Trevor, was just his imaginary version of Trevor in the little make-believe world. And then after the paramedics, who are the voices going to be after that?
The nurse.
And that's where nurses and doctors trying to keep him alive. So you guys covered all of that. So our only, oh sorry, Sam, Trevor, who would the third character be?
The nurse.
I would agree. That's where the nurse would come in. And then the last location at the very end?
Hospital.
I would agree. That's where the hospital would come in. So, Sam, what decision does Sam have to make in story?
Is it real or is it?
Listen to the voices or go along with my day.
I'd count both of those. The same idea, accept the craziness or fight the voices in some ways. He's trying to figure things out. At lunch, what decision does Trevor have to make?
Help her. Help.
Believe him or laugh at him and think he's crazy and leave him or
Person
be.
or help him.
If you put yourself in that situation,
Yeah, bend it or run away from him screaming hysterically.
pretty much. If you had a friend at lunch who was like, I'm hearing voices, all of a sudden like, ah, when their arm becomes like a water gun and starts shooting at you, like, yeah, I'm gonna dip. And then you would leave. Others of you would be like, I'm gonna try and help my. So that's the decision you
I
have
would
to
have
make.
said, like, dude, you're in a coma.
External conflict. What are the things fighting in the story?
The boy and the voice. The nurse and the.
So,
Sam and the voice.
who's the main character?
Sam.
What is Sam fighting throughout the story?
The nurse.
The voices. So then how do you write it correctly?
Sam.
Sam versus his problems. Like, voices.
Because he doesn't know who the voices are. So that's Sam fighting the voices throughout the story.
Let it be his problem.
Living, do you want? Like,
Miles, what?
death and living versus living.
I can sort of see something like that, being the death versus the living. We'll skip the plotty bits. I had faith in you guys figuring that one out. Point of view. What point of view is the story?
Third limited.
Because what characters in every scene
Sam.
would work for me.
And Sam.
Ryan, you are now down to 6. Alright. And then I'm assuming you had to leave to go somewhere. You said third limited?
Yes.
Third limited because which characters in every scene?
Always seen as Sam.
Yeah,
not never seen.
if it's his imagination dream world, he has to be in every scene. So yes,
It's his happy place.
it's going to be this third person limited to him. Now, I have a theme, but I've had kids keep coming up with a better theme. At the end of the story, what is the theme that he should have learned?
Wear a seatbelt.
Yeah, I think that's a much better theme. I went for don't give up, but I like the whole at the very end of the
Don't
story.
give up.
Yeah.
Where's your
What?
dad?
Well, because
Don't
throughout the
give
whole
up on
story,
dying. Don't do it. Don't.
the voices keep attacking him, and he doesn't give up. He keeps trying to fight the voices. So that was my don't give
yeah,
up.
that
But
makes sense.
I like the wear a seatbelt. I think that's an even better one from there.
I thought this was gonna be like Harry Potter type of deal with the Chamber of Secrets.
What?
Kinda was.
I enjoy
Yeah,
watching
in the
you.
hospital.
By the way, when we started it, and I told you it was like Lady and the Tiger and didn't have an ending, I told you it ends in the middle of a conversation. But I also had faith in you guys being able to figure out what was
Good
happening
choice.
through all of that foreshadowing. That's why I like the story. It does a good job of showing you foreshadowing to figure out the end. Tomorrow we have a really short story that we're going to be able to do together. These are your last 2 practices before Friday. We only have like one more week of short stories, and I'm hoping that you guys have things pretty much figured out. I think we'll do like one more big story next week and then be close to being done with all of this. We'll see how it goes. Home children, good luck from there. Hopefully, you're watching the video when you're absent and leave early so a teacher wouldn't have to make fun of you.